Hey, everybody, happy Monday. We'll give everybody a few minutes if you're watching this on a replay because you're watching the Michigan game or, have anything else to do besides be with us. If you're watching on a replay, put it in the comments, hashtag replay. Hi, Julie. We were just kind of talking about you in a good way, of course. Game starts at 7:30. Oh, good. We got some time. I think this will be kind of a short week this week, but you guys know me. I say that every time. So it might not be. Hi, Oriana, Linda. It was good. Of course, it was good. Hi, Terry, Sherry. Thank you. Welcome back. It's good to be back. I feel like I haven't chatted with a lot of people in a while between not being in the shop for a couple days last week and then the holidays and everything else. Hi, Shar. Holly, working on belated Christmas presents since you could not work on them due to your dad. Yeah, we'll be in Wednesday. Oh, tear a sweater out. That's not fun, but that's what we're here for. In solidarity, if nothing else. I'm very sorry to hear about your dad, Holly. We've been thinking about you a lot and your mom. Joyce working on little water shawl and reunion cushion covers. Fun. Yeah, what's everybody else working on? Yeah, Mary needs updates because she's in Mexico. Well, they don't have TV in Mexico. When we were in Mexico, we were watching the game. Maybe she's not at like a resort like we were. Um, so if you gifted anything for Christmas, how did it go? Did people like what they got? Um, were you, did you start new projects? Did you cast something on for New Year's? Julie working on Iron Maiden. That's one of the things we were talking about. That's cool. Yeah, Karen and Deb and I, we're good with helping with disasters. That's for sure. Hi, Jill. Okay, so it's after 7, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to Monday Motivation. Today is January 8th. It confused me for a second because I couldn't think that this was the actual first Monday in the month, but it's not. It's the second. Um, yes, yeah, Mom, and oh, it's here. I'll have to show it off. I meant to grab it and I forgot. Hi, Tammy. Jackie last under over Stephen West. Excellent. Um, so it is the new year. It's 2024. I always try to cast on a new project on New Year's. I did that this year, and it's actually a gift for somebody, which I'm pretty proud of myself for starting out the year doing gift knitting. I kind of thought I would. Um, I kind of had the feeling earlier today, like maybe I should do more gift knitting this year, but we'll see how that turns out. Oh, Lisa working on the Bonnie cardigan. Linda working on Izzy's blanket for the dog. Oh yeah, Melissa made those scarves. Hi, Ruth. Okay, so today is Monday, January 8th. I'm Kristen. I'm the owner of the little yarn shop located in downtown Saginaw, Michigan, inside the SVRC Marketplace. Marketplace hours, you guys know I have so many things going through my head at the same time. Marketplace hours are Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I go live most every Monday nights at 7. Deb does drop-in knitting up in the front lobby Monday nights from 6:30 to 8:30. So if you're working on something and you get stuck and you can't make it during shop hours or it needs a little bit more one-on-one attention, Monday nights are great for that. Bonnie finding a bite off your geo gradient. Excellent. What else? The marketplace. There are some changes, more changes happening. Cobb King, who currently is right outside the bead shop. He's the one that does the Mexican street corn and Italian ice. He is moving to where the falafel hut used to be into a bigger space, and he's having like a grand reopening in a couple weeks as soon as like everything else with food vendors around here, the holdup is the health department. There's one guy that is the guy to watch to approve when restaurants open in a new space. And apparently he's on vacation. So, but we're super excited for all of his new menu items. Tio Leo's is open. They're the rolled ice cream. We've got some like specialty decorated cookie things coming. I don't know, lots going on here. One of these weeks, I was going to do it this last Saturday, but I forgot. One of these weeks, I'm going to do a live and walk through when it's not totally crazy. So you all get a fun view of the market during business hours. Alicia, yes, Alicia is one of the co-owners of Cakes the Great, and you all know how much we love Cakes the Great. Kaylin was here earlier making some batches of popcorn, and I checked to make sure that she was going to have the sleazy cheesy this week because I missed out last week. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff happening around the market. And I've had a couple people tell me that the spot where Cakes the Great is, which is back where those nature people used to be, has a similar vibe to our shop in terms of just being welcoming and bright and vibrant. And Alicia does a much better job with keeping it organized and clean. And yeah, she's better at that than I am. But yes, the sleazy cheesy popcorn is addicting. I won't deny it. So let's talk about knitting. I have to show you all the shawl that my mom made for me. But of course, I didn't grab it before I started. So give me just a second. It's not very far away. So I used to have the purple shawl with the mohair that we've talked about a couple times, the one that you can't pronounce because it's not in English, the Midsummer Night Shawl. Hi, Donna. Oh, thank you, Alicia. My mom wanted her purple one back, and she also made a shawl for me. So this was one of the kits when I had gone through and done some kits a couple months back. This was one of the kits that I had. And look at how beautiful this is. It's so light and airy, but it's so big. This is one skein of fingering weight yarn and 50 grams, which if it's Malabrigo mohair, that's 2 skeins because they're 25 grams each of mohair. But you get this huge shawl. The lace is all in the fingering weight yarn. Then you just have these little garter ridges with the mohair. So it's nothing, Mom, it's at my house. I got it from the shop to my house to make sure that I got it back to you. But if you come to the shop, then that doesn't do any good. It's absolutely, it's gorgeous. It's not too heavy. I had it on in here the other day and it was just perfect, just the right thing to have on. So I'm so blessed that people knit things for me. I actually got 2 knitted gifts this year from people, which was very sweet. Mom did that for me. And then Pat, many of you know her as Pat, who has the twin grandbabies the twin grandbaby girls that we see all the time. But she knit, and I don't know the yarn. I haven't had a chance to ask her yet, but she knit this cowl for me. Look how fun that is. My color is green and teal, and it's a little bit flares at the bottom. So the pattern for this is Casapinka's Effuary. Really simple, but it's a fun little stitch sampler, but it's simple stitches. So nothing overly complicated, but a great project. I love the way it lays. It lays nicely. I'm not going to fight with my hair with that, but again, so sweet. It's so sweet that people knit for me. Makes me feel special. Yeah, it's a really cute cowl. It's one I think Stacy did 1 or 2 of them. It uses a bulky, chunky or a bulky yarn, so it will go a lot faster too. It's unusual for her patterns. Most of her patterns are fingering weight, although she is coming out with a worsted weight poncho, which I'm excited about. She's posted a little bit about it. Hi, Teresa. Oh, Linda, thank you. I feel special sometimes. You guys make me feel special. I love this place. Um, I finished my, I finished a couple things. I finished my Cozy McBlanket, which you've seen photos of, but I didn't actually have it done the last time we chatted. I think I had the body of it done, but not the sleeves. So now I have the sleeves done. They are pretty fitted. Um, it's kind of a fun construction the way it's done because you pick up all the way around. It would be a really cool vest, even if you didn't do the sleeves. I've been saying that to a lot of people, but I like the way it's open. I followed the pattern the way it was written. Um, if I were to make this again for myself, I would make the sleeves longer because they are kind of short. Granted, I haven't blocked this yet, so that may make a difference. I don't think I've blocked it. No, Victoria was at my house last week, so I couldn't block it. I need her bedroom in her bed with a door that closes to keep the cats out. So this will maybe go home with me this week and get blocked. That might make a little bit of a difference in the relaxing of it. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. It would be cute with a belt. It would be cute pinned in a similar way to like the Hito Fude that I talked about last time. So really fun pattern. It's not designed to be symmetrical. I am a little bit OCD, so mine is symmetrical, but it would be a great use for fingering or sport weight, just little bits of yarn that you have. One of the things that she has in the pattern is that she has like these little patches that you can't really see, but they're little squares throughout the body of the sweater where she holds a second yarn just for a few stitches. I did not do that. It just felt like it overcomplicated things. I think her theory was it's supposed to be like a well-worn, well-loved blanket that's got little patches in it, which is it's kind of sweet too. So I finished that and I finished this little Breeze Louise cowl. So I posted a picture of this too. It's not, well, it's bound off. I haven't cut the yarn yet, but it is bound off. So this cowl, the Breeze Louise, is knitted in the round. It's written for worsted weight yarn and not necessarily a variegated or anything, but it's a really simple pattern in that you could use almost any yarn for it and easily modify it. And it's a great no-brainer project if you're sitting like Holly, if you're sitting at the doctor's office waiting or in the hospital or something like that, where you can have your knitting with you, but you don't want to think too much. The whole thing is basically yarn over knit two togethers. So it doesn't require a lot of concentration. I knit this when I was at my parents' house over the New Year's weekend. And yeah, so the yarn that I used is Barocco Dash, which is a bulky yarn. And one of these, they're $29.50 a piece, but they have 230 yarns for a bulky weight yarn. 230 yards of a bulky weight yarn. So that is this color. And it's fun how if you just knit this type of yarn with the little pops of color in a sweater or something, you would get this look where you would get just those little strands of color. But because this has a little bit of a patterning to it, you get this fun offset. It's like spirally, but not. I think it's cool how it turned out. So I did go up. The pattern calls for size 9 needles. It's a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything, proprietary away. It calls for size 9 needles worsted weight yarn. I thought I used 11s. I used 10s. I would recommend that people go up to 10.5 or 11. Unless you like a more snug cowl. Like this would be really good just to have to tuck right under a jacket. If you want something that's more dressy, decorative's not the right word, casual, I guess. I would go a bigger needle and there's plenty. there's plenty of yarn to have done more. And because you just keep doing the same thing around and around, it has you do 50 rows, but you could easily do fewer or more. Again, just trying to follow the pattern, except of course I changed the yarn and changed the needle size. But not an original idea. One of my customers was on her way either down to or back from Florida and stopped in a yarn store somewhere like Kentucky, Tennessee area and saw a sample in a yarn shop that was knit up like this. And I love it when people come back and have cool ideas. So it's not something that we probably would have seen around here, or maybe would have eventually, but it's nice to be able to get different ideas. That's what I do when I go to a lot of shops too. Yeah, Julie, it's really interesting the way it pools. And so we have quite a few colors of this. I have the three that are in this. You can't really tell it's three colors, but one is like the blues and purples and pinks. One is darker blues, purples, and greens, and then there's another one that's all greens. But then there are two different grays. There are two different kind of taupey tan colors. So if you wanted to maybe like get a leg up on gift knitting for next year, or if you have people that you need to make things for, including yourself, it's a fun little project. I think it took me less than 24 hours to do because we spent a lot of time just sitting. Yeah, Linda, this is the Galatea. I think Melissa just posted the link to that one. This is actually written for this yarn for the Barocco Dash. This is one, again, that I would go up a needle size because this was supposed to be my size and it's more my daughter's size. I mean, I could wear it, but it's a little bit snug. And I have heard that from other people too that have made it. So keep that in mind if you're going to make that. But that's a lot of fun. It doesn't require that you use 3 different colors. I just kind of wanted to be able to show off a variety of yarns. But I was also sitting here looking at the stack of yarn on the table that is ever changing. And because this calls for worsted weight yarn, one skein of the Dream in Color Classy that we've got here that does the assigned pooling would be really cool. And I think it would give you a similar spiral effect like this one does. So just other options. If you like this yarn and go, okay, well, I'm not crazy about that other cowl hat that you had or scarf idea, this would be a really fun, really quick gift for yourself or somebody else. So that's what I finished. I am working on the ship shape top. And I know I talked about this one before, but I hadn't had it started yet. So this is the ship shape top. And you can see a little bit, there's this like triangular panel. You can't really tell it's a triangular panel on the shoulders. It's got to be a better picture of it. No, not really, there isn't, but I'll show you mine. So I decided you start with these 2 little triangle pieces that end up being on the shoulders. And I decided that that was a good way to swatch. So I generally go down a needle size. So, I know it's still here. It's still here, but the pink found its way home with you. Instead of knitting a separate swatch, I decided it's not a huge piece, but I would knit this little triangle piece. I went down, it calls for 4s. I tried it on 3s and it was, got it wet in the sink back here and blocked it. And it was a little bit too tight. So I just left it. And then I did another one because you have to have 2 of these. I did another one on 4s and got close to gauge. So it's kind of cool. That's how you start with these little shoulder pieces. And then you build out from there. Heidi, I think it's Heidi Kiermaier. Yes. Heidi Kiermaier is very detailed, but it's not overly complicated the way she does designs. Like I would look at this and think it's pretty much unit stripes back and forth, and then you join for the round, and then at some point you would pick up for your sleeves. This one, before you split for the sleeves, you actually pick up around the armhole. I've never done that before. So these last couple of stripes continue around the arm before you split for the sleeves. I didn't do a very good job in that corner, but that's okay. I can kind of hide that later. So then when you pick up and knit, you've already got all of those stitches. You're not picking up along that edge. I just a really interesting way to do it. And she has it, she's got all the math worked out. So when you're picking up stitches along the edges, they all line up the way they're supposed to. I just got to the point where it's the length that I want. I started the ribbing. I didn't get very far, but I started the ribbing. The yarns that I'm using are Barocco Remix Light in this gorgeous corally color, 69.29, because they don't put color names on theirs. And then their natural color, this coral, I love it. I can't wait. It's gonna be such a good spring, summer top. And Remix has such great yardage. I think I'm probably gonna need two of, where's my yardage? DK weight yarn in 2 colors. The max you would need for a 6X, which is a 70-inch bust. Keep in mind that is with 5 to 7 inches of positive ease. The max you would need is like 1,000 yards of your main color and 800 yards of your contrast color. So that would be 3 of these for your main color and 2 for your contrast color. These have 432 yards on them for a sport weight yarn. That's awesome. Good yardage, good price, feels really good. And it is definitely not knitting with smushy with cashmere in any way, shape, or form, but it's pleasant to knit. It's not unpleasant, I guess I should say, to knit. And we got talking last week about Remix in particular and starting a ball of Remix, pulling from the inside versus pulling from the outside. I had learned somewhere along the way, I don't remember who it was that I heard this from, but they said the general guideline was if you read the label this way versus having a label read this way, that you would pull from the middle, from the top. However, Barocco makes it so you can pull from the bottom. So you see this guy coming out here. Watch that, because that's where you want to start. It's just, this is the little tail stuck right under the label there. But if you pull that, that is your start for the beginning of the inside of the ball without getting, hi Jody, without getting yarn barf and like half of the skein yarn coming out. It does still happen. Most of the skeins that I've used have this little tail to start it. I grabbed a cream one and it doesn't. And then it's just kind of a crapshoot of sticking your fingers in there and trying to figure out what to pull in order to pull something out that that might get you close to the beginning. But always look for that first. Some yarns will have it at the top, some will have it at the bottom. It just makes it pretty handy. So I'm working away on that. I mentioned that I cast on a New Year's project. That's a gift for somebody. The slap method. Is that where you squish it down? Where you squish it down this way? Yeah, okay. I've seen videos. I've not ever tried it though. That kind of scares me, but that would make sense because all these are machine wound. And at some point they would have to have a hollow core when things, they take it off, just like on our ball winder, things kind of collapse in. Yeah, there's some way where if you squash it this way, it kind of separates stuff out. So maybe it's easier to get to the center of the ball. I don't know, maybe I'll have to try it with that white one and see if it works. So my New Year's project. I have a friend who lives out of town, but has very unassumingly mentioned a couple times that it would be really cool if I made him a hat. So I am making him a hat, and he likes the little brim style, this style hat. We went through, I picked a couple patterns, and it's got a slouchy version, which is really cool. It's called Tamara. Of course, I gave him like 3 choices and he picked the fingering weight one. But that's okay. It's not like it's his only hat. He has others. And they tell that you could use like a foam sheet to line or to reinforce the brim. But he and I decided that he's got an old hat that he doesn't wear anymore. He's going to bring that to me, and I'm going to cut the brim off of his hat to be able to reinforce this one that I'm doing. So I thought, because I've made a fair amount of hats, I looked at this and thought, okay, you probably knit the hat first and then you do the brim last. So no big deal. He can take his time. No, it doesn't. It starts with the brim. Again, I'm finding these patterns that have construction that, I mean, I've done a provisional, well, not a provisional cast on, but I've done like Judy's Magic cast on before for socks, but never anything for this big. So it starts Judy's, well, either a figure 8 or Judy's Magic cast on. So you're knitting in the round, essentially like a big toe of a sock. Man, you guys, it's so dry in here. But I am to the point now where you're supposed to reinforce the brim and close up the 2 edges, knit them together, and then continue on with the hat. So I'm stuck on that because I need to wait for reinforcements, I guess. But this is, I brought him in the shop too. He's good friends with Sarah, who owns the bead shop. And so last time he was here, I brought him down to our shop and had him, he said, well, what yarns do I have to choose from? And you guys know it's this. So he was a little bit overwhelmed, but he picked out black and white, which is cool. And it's going to be really neat. I think it's still going to be light enough that it will show that little bit of detail. I mean, it's just knits and purls and a little zigzag. I probably won't put the buttons on it. So that was my New Year's project that I started. And I think that's all I have on the needles right now. I haven't decided. Melissa and I were just talking about what my next cowl or hat or shawl project will be for a shop sample. I have to figure out what yarn I'm going to use first, and then maybe a little heart on one side of the brim. Julie, on mine or on the one in the I don't, or this way? I don't know. I can't tell. Maybe that's what you're looking at over there. Yeah, I think it's neat. So I think I have grand ideas, you guys, for things in this new year that are going to be exciting and different, but fun. And so hopefully I can execute some of those fun ideas. So I'm not talking about them too much yet because I don't want to overextend myself. But I do have great people that are here to help, great friends and great company. So I know people will help me get fun things done this year. Oh, Melissa found one. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we talked about that. Local things that we support. So this time of year, a lot of people are getting sick, whether it's sinus stuff. I was off last week because Victoria was sick. I felt fine. I still feel fine. It's just dry in here. But I wanted to just kind of stay away for an extra couple days just to be sure. But what I did for her and what I do for me on a regular basis, that is better than chicken soup, I swear. And I mean, I think it's been proven too in some sense. Saigon Sandwich here is the Vietnamese restaurant that we have here in the marketplace. They make their bone broth fresh every day, every week. I'm sure they make it every day. I see them down there prepping it every day, and it's it is hearty, real bone broth made in a giant vat, and that is so good for you. Everything, well, the sugar is delicious. There is a little bit of sugar in there, but uh, you get so many good nutrients plus the flavor plus hydration. So last week, I had him put together just a big bowl of broth for me to take to Victoria. She made herself some, 65-cent ramen and then put the broth in there with it, which I think he got a little bit offended by. But the the meal that I normally get from them that we call the Kristen special is his banh mi sandwich in a bowl with the pho broth. So it's like their low carb banh mi in a bowl, but then we get the broth in there and that's crunchy veggies. And I get the beef that's cooked with onions. It's just delicious. So if you're feeling under the weather or somebody you know is feeling under the weather, those are two really good ideas to come here, get something for. It just warms you up. Yeah, it's the best. Every time my parents come, it's what my dad gets, usually what my mom gets too. So good stuff. I posted yesterday that Victoria and I went to Populous Coffee in Bay City. It's not the first time that we've been there. They rearranged things a bit and I like the space that they're in. They're right downtown and it's good. We don't go there very frequently because they don't have a whole lot in terms of breakfast foods. So she got a bagel and cream cheese and I got a vegan blueberry breakfast bar, which was delicious. But Populous Coffee is really good and they're locally roasted, locally owned. And yeah, you guys know we love that. I did see that there is a new coffee shop in Merrill that I'm excited to try. I just found out it's a mother-daughter team that are running the coffee shop. That they just opened today, I believe. I saw that they were posting yesterday and they're going to have Sunday hours, which I'm excited about. Like Merrill's not that far. We can get ourselves out there in the next couple weeks and support them. Check it out. I can't remember the name of it now, but you guys know once we get there, I will post about it and I'll probably try and share their post too. Completely non-yarn related and actually non-food related, but I wanted to mention it because it comes up every once in a while in the shop. Quite a few of the ladies around here have discussed microblading and eyebrows. And I don't know if you guys noticed that around the time I had my my hip surgery, my brows were looking a little iffy. I took that time while I was going to be home and resting to have my brows microbladed and the recovery process is slow. Like it's 4 to 5 weeks for everything to kind of settle to where it's supposed to be. So I love, this was the third time I've gotten it done from the same place. And I think she does an amazing job. So if it's something that you are considering, I would highly recommend going to Ziba Medical Spa here in Saginaw and seeing Rena. She happens to be the sister of Noelle, who used to own the Falafel Hut. That's how I met her when the market first opened 5 years ago. She was in here occasionally and would be helping out Noelle, and we talked. And I've been going to her ever since. Last time I got it done was in 2019, I think. So it lasts a few years. Yes, it's an investment, but for me, it's worth it. Like, it's kind of like, it's one step away from having your lashes done, which I don't do because I'm afraid I would just get addicted to that. But that's another thing. So I know I only mention it because I know it comes up in conversation around the table every so often. So I want to make sure I pass on my good reviews. I did say it was going to be kind of a short one this week. I want to remind everybody that make sure you dig out and use your fiber funds this month. They are good only for the month of January. The only thing the fiber funds cannot be used on is what? Karen and I were just talking about it the other day. I think it says on there that you can't use it on consignment things, but you can stack them up if you've got more than one, that's okay. Like, I want it to be like, and a little bonus for all of you. And I've had quite a few people already use their gift cards and the fiber funds toward sets of needles, which is a good idea too. Just spoil yourself, treat yourself. It's not spoiling because it's tools, and tools are essential. Yeah, I think that might be it for today. So I hope everybody has a good week. And apparently there's supposed to be some snow coming tomorrow. So um we're pretty much, the shop is open if we can get here. So but as always, keep an eye on the Facebook page. If the weather gets really bad, we will post on there if we end up not opening. Yeah, Melissa and I just talked about justifying a new needle set. You need all the tools. Um, I want to kind of keep it broad, but I do want to request that prayers, good vibes. Yes, Holly, I know tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm just thinking like in the future as things go, like if this is a big storm, it lasts a couple days. Um, I do want to ask that we have a few friends and customers that are going through rough times right now. And so if you just would hold them in your hearts and your thoughts and pray for them. Every prayer helps. And I don't want to put out there everything for everybody, but you know, even he knows who you're praying for. So um just a small request there. Okay. Have a good weekend, everybody. And if I don't see you in the shop sometime this week, I will see you right here next Monday, back on a regular basis.